If the world warms by 4 degrees, oceans rise, overtaking heavily populated deltas, home to 1 billion people. Bangladesh washed away. Egypt inundated. Venice submerged. Glaciers disappear, shutting off the flow of fresh water to billions more. Northern Canada becomes one of the planet's most bountiful agricultural zones, while a beach in Scandinavia could be the next Saint-Tropez. The entire West Antarctic ice sheet could collapse, sending sea levels rising even further. This could be our world, plus 4 degrees.
At 4 degrees, we really do begin to see a planet which is completely unrecognizable from the one we know today. We will see the possible drying up of some of the most important rivers in the world, and this will endanger the survival of tens and even hundreds of millions of people.
If the planet is ever 4 degrees warmer, one of its great rivers will be self-destructing at both ends, from a high mountain glacier to the Indian Ocean. Locals call it Mother Ganges, the holiest river in India, perhaps in all the world. Millions of devout pilgrims gather each year in a mass ritual to celebrate the river's birthday. When it is said the goddess Ganga came to earth to save her people from drought. Himalayan rivers are the wellspring of life for over 1 billion people in China, Nepal, and India. Climate scientists predict India could be one of the countries where the impact of global warming takes its greatest toll. Unless we begin to slow global warming in fewer than 4 decades, the Ganges could be a river fighting for its very life. If the world warms 5 degrees, 2 massive uninhabitable zones spread into once temperate regions of the northern and southern hemispheres. Snowpack and aquifers that feed the world's great cities, Los Angeles, Cairo, Lima, Bombay, are drying out. Climate refugees number in the hundreds of millions. This could be our world plus 5 degrees.
I think in a world which is much warmer than now, 5 degrees, it's going to be inconceivable that human civilization can withstand that kind of a climatic shock.
Now we enter the twilight zone of climate change, a nightmare vision of life on Earth. Perhaps most frightening of all is how much we can't know. Traditional social systems would break down.
I think it's the poor everywhere that are going to suffer, because if you take the example of, say, Hurricane Katrina, which I'm not saying was necessarily caused by human-induced climate change, who were the worst sufferers in the city of New Orleans? The poorest of the poor. They were just left behind.
The best way to survive the catastrophe of a hotter planet is to prevent it from happening in the first place. Failing that, we may be confronting far more difficult choices. If the world warms by 6 degrees, from a distance, the oceans may appear bright blue, but they are marine wastelands. Deserts march across continents like conquering armies. Natural disasters become common events. Some of the world's great cities are flooded and abandoned. this could be our world plus 6 degrees.
Warmings of 6 degrees over longer time periods have been associated with some of the most devastating mass extinctions which have ever taken place. So it's certainly fair to assume that if temperatures soar by 6 degrees within less than a century, that we're going to face nothing less than a global wipeout.
6 degrees of warming has been called the doomsday scenario. Our lives would never be the same again.
For the best subscription offers to any National Geographic magazine, log on to nationalgeographic.com/magazines.